How's it going, guys? Alex here. Welcome back to another Dokkan Battle video, and today I am joined by Dino, or as most of you know him, Rhymestyle, and today we are going to be talking about the new Super Vegito and just speculating about what he could potentially do.
These nuts?
Oh.
I thought we were speculating about these nuts.
You seriously went there? You went there?
Yeah.
In this video?
Yeah, I went there. Yeah.
Oh.
I did.
Well, thank you for joining me in this discussion.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me. Big mistake number one.
Well, if you haven't noticed, we are both using green screen, so I don't know how this is like going to come together. But I think you attempted.
Well, I'm just recording my voice because you told me to just record my voice.
Oh, no, you know what? It actually makes it. You know what? Just leave it. Just leave it like that because it actually makes it a bit easier.
You know what? How about this? How about this? Just to be funnier, you know my cutout of me sticking my hand out for my thumbnail the other day? Use that for my picture. Oh, it'll just be that the entire time.
That is perfect. And then I'm just gonna put myself on top of you. That is actually amazing.
Oh,
not in that way, obviously.
What did you just walk into?
I don't even know. Is this a discussion video or what? So back to the Vegito.
Apparently this should be on Pornhub, but okay, but go ahead. The next one.
I mean that works as well. Could upload it to both. I mean I'll need to create an account. Obviously, it's not like I have one already or anything. But today we are going to be talking about the new Super Vegito. Obviously, we don't have any more information on him. I kind of expected them to release like the gameplay that they normally do like a day before, but they haven't done so already. Is Hato back? I think Hato is back, isn't he?
Is what back?
Hato Saru.
He was back, but he hasn't been posting.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I think the way that the guys that, you know, do the data mining stuff try to avoid getting banned now is by making their accounts private. So
no. The thing is with specifically with Super Vegito, there was no data released.
That is true.
I think Bandai is taking a different approach about this, as opposed to just going after the data miners. They're basically just not going to release the information until it's time to go. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get like a maintenance tonight, like probably half an hour before the actual thing goes live. And then we'll get it, which I think they should have just done since day one if they're so like butthurt about people data mining and stuff because they're excited over it. So yeah, exactly. I think that's yeah.
And it brings more publicity to the game. It's like if people see like these newer units before they're released, they're like, okay, this is what I want to go ahead and summon for. But if they don't know, they may spend their stones prior to, you know, actually being able to summon on these particular events. But of course we don't have any information on him. But if you take a look at the STR Super Vegito before he was released into the Int type, he was able to, you know, be effective against all types, and we didn't really know if they were going to do the exact same thing with the Int type, but they did go down that route again. But the biggest difference is that they basically just slapped the 120% on his passive skill and just ended it there. He did get the debuff as well. So the question is, are they going to give Super Vegito the counter and an attack boost, or are they going to be going down a completely different route?
I can honestly see them doing the exact same thing what they did with Intelligence Gogeta. But the problem with that is well, number one, if you don't use mono teams anymore, you'll probably never use the Agility Vegito ever again. Because what I noticed is when they did that with Strength Gogeta, I never went back to use them ever again. Because anytime you build a category team, the first thing you're gonna do is pick the better of the two. I mean, there's no reason to run Strength Gogeta ever again. However, if you run mono teams, obviously, and you're running Super Saiyan 4 Goku and a Strength team, then you'll probably still rely on using Strength Gogeta because it's obviously the best option to go with. So the thing will come down to is number one, if you're only using category teams, you'll never use Super Vegito, the original AGL one. And two, it's also going to kind of suck because, like, I just got my AGL Vegito to 100%. And it's like, oh, here's a new one, so I'm never going to use the old one ever again outside of using Super Battle Road. So I mean, I want it, but also I kind of would rather want something completely different that's like still maintains the relevance and the uniqueness of the original Super Vegito.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. And yeah, go on.
Here's a question I have for you. Is it fair for all of us to like want it to have the counter? Okay, so to kind of like explain what I mean by that question is we're all expecting the counter, and the counter doesn't happen, and he ends up being something completely different. Even if he's an amazing card, it's going to cause backlash. But the thing is like we're all expecting it, so it's like, is that something that's like okay for us to talk about and like expect? Like, are we entitled to think about that, or like, you get what I'm saying here?
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying, because it's basically expected of a Super Vegito card at this point to have that counter mechanic, and I feel like if it doesn't have it, it will be a bit disappointing from you know, for some people. But then again, if they go down a completely different route and make this one of the most unique cards in the game still, like, I still like would be super happy.
I think people will still be angry, because like, even looking at Blue Vegito, originally when we were discussing that during the election days, almost everybody was like, oh, he better have counter, he better have like multiple attacks. And it's like, well, I mean, what if he doesn't? Because like, we're all putting our hopes on this, and if it ends up not having it, we're just gonna be setting ourselves for disappointment. So like the way I see every single card is as long as they make it usable and unique and like that card in its own, that's great. Like it's funny because Gogeta, the intelligence one, isn't really that different from the original Gogeta. It's basically literally just super effective with a 120% attack boost. But like that card was already amazing, so getting attack boost still makes it kind of relevant in its own way. Would I have loved to see Intelligent Gogeta to be different? I mean, yeah, kind of, because I'm curious to see what they would have done. But at the same time, they made it like awesome. So even if they take something like Super Vegito and make it basically counter normal attacks with like 120% attack boost, and then that's it, I'll be okay with it. But at the same time, it's like, is it too much for us to expect that?
Personally, I think that at this point, they've made it a staple thing for a Super Vegito card or Vegito Blue card to have that. They haven't done that with the regular Vegito cards, but, you talk about Super Vegito, Vegito Blue, I think it's expected of them to add some sort of mechanic like that. They could do something completely like different, but it's still similar in some ways. They can maybe make it so that they counter super attacks instead, which Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta does have, but at the same time, I definitely think that, what if they went down this route? What if they added a counter and a dodging mechanic at the same time?
Instead of like a 120% boost?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be usable. It will still hit hard. But I feel like it would be kind of weird to have a new god unit, especially a category leader, that doesn't hit for like a bajillion.
That's true. But you have to take into account with the amount of counters that Vegito gets in, his damage easily gets like over 1 million damage, especially with critical hits. I'll
tell you right now, that card, if it did have basically a dodge passive as well as a counter, would be A1 for Super Battle Road.
It would legit be the most broken card in the game. And this is one of the things I was thinking about with the whole like limit breaking stuff. Maybe that could potentially still make the older Vegito a bit relevant, because if the older Vegito gets it before the new one, which he most likely will, like, could they potentially be on par? Something to think about, maybe.
It sounds good on paper. Until I see this all myself and see the actual gameplay and see how it works out with different teams, it's all good on paper, but I don't want to, think too much of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But, like, the thing about this new Vegito in particular, I just feel like with the newer units that they've been releasing, there's just been, like, this constant pattern of just slapping a 120% boost on it. I definitely think Vegito is going to get that, because if he's just going to be the exact same as the agility card, then, like, what's the point? I mean, granted, you have that category lead, but at the same time, there needs to be something else about him. Maybe it's going to be a debuff, or just some sort of damage reduction. Maybe you can now be able to tank super attacks as well as normal attacks. Maybe you can only tank super attacks, Like, there are just so many things to think about when it comes to this card. There are so many possibilities. They could go down the creative route, like giving him counters, dodging, or just a bunch of, crazy stuff. Or they could go down the less creative route, which I'm not opposed to, like, at all, because I'd love him to just have counters and, like, a 120% boost or something. Just increases overall damage output. And I don't know if you saw the post, but apparently if the old Super Vegito got, like, a 35% attack increase or something along those lines, he would be the hardest hitting unit in the game. Which is completely insane. It mostly comes down to the counters, and it just shows you how important that counter mechanic actually is when it comes to his overall damage output, because he is lacking that, because he is lacking that attack boost that the newer units are getting. So I definitely think he needs to get something like that on top of his potential counter mechanic.
Yeah, the other question I want to talk about is the types, because like based on which type you do, you can build some crazy teams. I mean, granted, you got the category, which is going to Majin Buu arc, which gives you many options between like Majin Vegeta, Angel Goku, which I believe Angel Goku is going to be in it, despite, people being on the fence about that, because, that is a Fusion Reborn version of Goku, but still, Angel Goku did face off against Kid Buu, or not Kid Buu, well, Kid Buu as well. Well, Majin Buu, he was alive against Kid Buu, but still, same thing. You could also get, whatchamacallit, Ultimate Gohan. Like, there's so many options, physical Gotenks. The Buu team's going to be busted.
Oh, 100%.
But based on the type that you use, you can also run specific battle teams. So if you end up doing tech, imagine this: Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and Super Vegito, both countering super and regular attacks. That'd be insane. Or it could be intelligence, and then it's like, okay, well, what do you run with that? Then they get to run Super Vegito along with Gogeta. If it's strength, like yada yada yada. There's like so many cool options you can go with that card, and like it's like, what do you think is going to be the case for the types?
Can you, like, I think it was Rika that brought this up. Can you imagine if he's agility?
That would be kind of funny. I feel like if it ends up being agility, it'll be kind of like a slap in the face, because like, oh yeah, here's another agility Super Vegito. It's like, oh cool, thanks guys, fantastic. But at the same time, I can also see that, because based on the other teams and how they're set up, it will be kind of busted and overpowered depending on which direction you go. So I could honestly see him being agility. My biggest guess right now is going to be physical.
Physical. I can definitely see that, to be honest. Like, the thing about agility is that it does need a bit of a harder hitter. I think I brought this up to you in like one of the other days. Like, I've tried the new mode with agility, and one of the things that they're kind of lacking is just a harder hitter that is on par with some of the units from the other teams. So I wouldn't mind him being agility, but at the same time, it kind of just disregards the other one completely. Like, he legit would not be usable if you manage to pull the newer one, just because he's simply going to be better. That's just the way it is.
The funny thing about if it does end up being agility, then they would literally have no use of the old one at all.
Yeah,
like there will be no reason to run it.
100% no reason, unless you don't manage to pull him, obviously. And then you have tech, like Dino mentioned. You have Gogeta, and of course potentially new Super Vegito with the numerous amount of counters. Int with Gogeta and just his effectiveness against all types. And then you have SDR with Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Super Saiyan 3 GT, and then of course Vegito. Physical, Vegito Blue, Super Vegito, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, Wirrus, just so many crazy units for the other teams. I feel like agility needs it the most, but at the same time it definitely would be like one of the worst things to do, because it basically disregards the old one completely.
Right.
So, I mean, what do you personally think?
I mean, I feel like I'm leaning towards physical the most.
Physical? Oh, I definitely agree with that.
But then again, you would have two counters on one team. Then you have Vegito Blue, and then you have this one too. I don't know. It's tough. And I want to say intelligence, but we received so many intelligence cards in the last couple of like weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Ultra Instinct.
You know what? Well. You know what? My guess is going to be intelligence.
Intelligence?
My guess is intelligence.
Can you? Oh my god! Imagine that team. Gogeta,
because I'm only thinking about like the counters, like because with physical you got Vegito Blue who also counters. On tech you got Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta who also counters. Strength, even though he's not really reliable for counters, you know, Goku Super Saiyan 4 does counter medium chance for supers. And intelligence, all intelligence really has is just kind of more the power-based stuff. So you got like, you know, Super Saiyan 4, not Super Saiyan 4, but Super Gogeta and LR Gohan. So that could be a pretty good team, but I don't know. It's tough to think about because there's so many options you can go into, but every single team has their own ways of it being too overpowered or like not being able to work out. So it's one of those things that we literally have to wait to see what happens tonight.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But let me know in the comment section down below which type you think Vegito is going to be. But thank you for joining me, Dino. I appreciate it. I mean, we went off on a bit of a tangent at the start, but I think we, you know, came back to the actual topic of the video towards the middle. But yeah, hope you guys did enjoy the video as always. And if you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Go ahead and check out Dino's channel, which will be left in the comment and description, hopefully. And yeah, any last words?
Hopefully, aka doesn't do it.
Well, I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I will see you all in the next one.